Hi, I'm back. I was out on a little tour of our garden because I wanted to get it before it's melted because the sun is finally out, and I just feel like, yes, spring is coming. It's going to be here very soon. So today I'm going to do a little card using By the Bay, and this is going to be some coloring, but other than that, it's not much. It's pretty quick and easy, so I think you're going to enjoy it. If you are interested in coloring stuff and you're not sure what to do, I'm going to be a good one for you to watch because I don't really know what I'm doing, but I enjoy doing what I do. Even when I don't know what I'm doing. And you're going to probably see some things that you think, I know a better way to do that. That's fine. Tell me, message me. I'm all ears. I love to learn new things because I am all the time. You will probably find something there that you didn't know, or just be encouraged that, if she can do it, I can do it, right? Please come to my classes. I've got one this weekend, the Friday and Saturday, Sweetest Things. It's going to be really fun and cute. I've got lots of goodies for it because it's candy, okay? So, there's stuff, and I can't eat it. So I know a lot of it's going to go with Jeff to school, and I would rather that it came to your house. They probably don't need it at school either. And then I think it's just the next weekend. Wow, I think it is. It is. The very next weekend, I'm doing my Easter class, and I've kind of forgotten to advertise it, but it's really cute. So I hope people come to it because there's this little bunny, and you'll see more of it later. But anyhow, so I'm going to switch down to my desk and then try to find me on Facebook and see if it's actually on like I think it is. And then we'll go from there. So I've kind of gotten, as I'm getting things started, you can see on my desk when my class is going and the time, and then you can also see where to register because I need people to register so that I can have things prepared for you. And you know what? This registration actually closed yesterday, but then I reopened it because I decided, you know what, I can do it one more day because I've been stamping like crazy because I've been home. I've been stuck. It's been snowing all the time and it's nuts. So here's the card that I'm going to do for you today. And I'm going to put you down a little bit so you can see it better. I hope you can see it okay. Let me get my light over better. So this, I haven't done the inside yet. I am going to, because I always put white in here, and I usually stamp on there. But just to give you an idea of what I'm doing, I used with Deepest Sympathy on this Golden Afternoon stamp set, and this is in the New Occasions catalog. There's this with Deepest Sympathy. They also have, I love the sentiments because they're small enough to fit on a label that I would use. And there also is, hope your day is as wonderful as you, thankful for friends like you, loving thoughts are with you, thinking of you, and the sympathy. And then these trees can go with a whole bunch of things. I really like those birds. Don't they turn out nice? And then I thought it would be, I know just the trees are good, but I thought this little tree or this little house on By the Bay would work, and it does. And this is a Celebration stamp set. So if you ordered $50 of anything, you could get this stamp set free. And it has thinking of you, may all your paths lead to happiness, and thank you. It has a shell, and these birds are wonderful. They are really good all on their own. And then on my next video, I'm going to do really quick a how to get your stamps onto your stickers onto your stamps because it's tricky. And I've seen videos, and I did one earlier, but I want to do a quickie short one again, but not today because I won't have time. And then I also, when I was doing the card, I actually used the little water shine that's on this set for the water, and I didn't like it. It's very small, so kind of designed for like a little pond, but as you can see, I made this so that it would be like a little island. So there's water all around, and I needed a lot of water, so I think instead of the water on this stamp set, I'm actually going to try in this with you. We'll try it. I haven't done it, so we'll see how it works. This little bit of longer wave water thing. So we'll see how that works out, because I really don't know. But first, what we need to do, I'm going to just set this over here, and I'm only going to use half. This is, I would fold this, because this is actually a base card for me. I keep a bunch of these on hands, and this is not even the paper I wanted. I just couldn't find my Whisper White. This is just regular white cardstock that you would find anywhere, and it's not as high a quality, so I hope that my images stamp nicely, because they sometimes don't. You know, this cheaper cardstock is fine for a base card that I'm going to just be writing on, but it isn't necessarily always the best for coloring on, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. So I'm going to take my stamp, put it on a block, and I have to get a pretty good sized one out to stick that on there. And we're going to just start by doing the trees, and I need to do the tree for, well, I better move you up so you can see a little more of what I'm doing. Okay, so I need to have the tree going up, and I need to have it going down where the water would be. And I actually, my memento's getting, I think it's getting a tiny bit dry. I need to get my inker and ink it up again a bit more, but we'll just do it a bit and see what happens. Okay, so we'll put the tree on here, about there, and I'm probably not giving it quite as much room as I wanted to, but that's okay. And then I want to do one down below, and I want it to meet up pretty close to the base of it, but I do want a little bit of a bank, so I'm just going to do that. Okay, and then I guess I need my cleaner out here so that I can put that guy away. You know what? I forgot. I do need to kind of I'll just use this side because I need to do a really quick little image. I'm going to need to have a masking one. So I am going to just need to cut that out a little bit, and I think I'm going to use these little funky scissors if I can find some. I've got some like little serrated type scissors that are gonna give me not quite a straight edge here. I just need to go in around those leaves a little bit. I don't think my house is gonna be down here. And it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to get it perfect because I'm not going to want the house to be right up against it anyway. But I do need a little bit of a mask. So that's why I did that. And you're going to figure out what I'm talking about. If you're not sure what is the heck she's talking about, a mask, you'll find out here in a moment once I get things going. But I got that tree stamped, and then we will get this little tree out. Now I used to just throw these away, but I'm using them to keep them on here because these stamps are so sticky. They stick to the case, and then I can't really see them to get them out all that easily. So I've been hanging on to the paper and sticking it on there to keep them from doing that. And then this little tree bush is going to go over here on the side. And as you can see, I didn't do it exactly the same, okay? It's sticking out a little different here, but it doesn't really matter. It's going to be fine. And then I just want that to be about the same level on the card. I'm doing my live thing at a different day because Jeff was home on Monday because it was a holiday, and he was home a whole week before Monday. My goodness. I didn't get a lot of stuff done that week, it seems like. I did get some things done, but not as much as I expected to, actually. So I'm going to just put my little birds. Oh, I flubbed it. I'm going to have to start all over. Those birds have big spacing in between them. And when there's big spacing like that, you really can't ink down hard, or this is what happens. So I have to start all over. I do have my little masking piece, though, done, so it's not quite a loss, but I do need to get out my big tree again, and we'll do it again. Maybe I should start with my birds, so I don't waste all this time doing it again in case I do it again, because I might. I want to get them really well inked, and I can see right there I've already got it. So okay, we're gonna just calm down here, make sure this is nice and dry. Get that dry. And now this time I am not going to push so hard. I just need to ink those birds. I don't want to ink there, so they don't look inked up enough. It's kind of tricky when your ink pad's getting a little dry to get enough ink on the raised part, but not get any on that part. Okay. There we go. And not pushing too hard, especially this one isn't as gooey, maybe I'll say, isn't as moist. That's really not. Some of our new ink pads, they have got so much ink on them that it actually pools a little bit there. And so this Memento Black isn't quite as inky as that. So normally like this has so much detail and not a lot of stuff on the side. You don't have to worry quite so much about it, but really just light padding generally is going to work better. Okay, so we'll try this tree again. And I'm going to get it up a little bit higher than I did, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Yeah, it might be. And then I really just need to do the mirror part that's going to be in the water. Clean that off again. Stick it in there. And then we'll get my little bush. And I need to stamp this little bush 2 times because I need a mask for this little bush too. Okay, so we'll get the little bush right there and right there. And then I'm going to pull over my scrap piece and do a bush there because I need to cut that out. Clean off my desk a tiny bit. Okay, so I really just need to have this this little bush, the masking part on this side. And you probably have some scissors like this too. I've been collecting stamping things for so long that I have all kinds of interesting shaped scissors. So when I need to cut around something, it's useful. This is just just like a scallop, a little mini scallop. Okay, so that's a masking piece. And then what did I do with my other masking piece? I thought I cut it out. There it is. I'm gonna just tear it. Okay, so those are my 2 masking pieces. And let's see. Okay, now the next thing I need to do, let me close this up for a second. Get my card over here so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now I want to use my By the Bay. I love this stamp set. Both of these are so, when I saw these, I like landscape cards because I do a lot of cards for, I do a lot of sympathy and get well cards, but I also like to I send a lot of cards to guys. I mean, some people don't, but, you know, I do. And so these kinds of landscape cards are making guy cards so much easier than some. So, oh, hey, Kara, is that you? Somebody is there. Dan is there. Scott. It's nice to see see, these are guys who have actually gotten cards from me too. They probably could testify that I can actually do a card that's not only got ribbons and girly girl stuff on it. So this By the Bay stamp set, you only want, we're only trying to get the house in here because it's really not the scale you want necessarily. It's got to look like it's in the distance, okay, because the scale is off a little bit. It's got, this set actually has this sea wall and some sea here, and there's this teeny tiny house way in the back. We just want this to look like it is tucked in behind the trees. I don't want to have to color in a lot of greenery on either side of these trees because that would take too much time. And I don't have the skill level really to do it either. And so I just want this part. This is why you got to have your little masking trees here. And then if I stamp into it a little bit, it won't matter so much because I've got these masking pieces covering those areas that I don't want stamped on. Oops, it's just a matter of placing. Now I could get some tape and tape that down. Might not be a bad idea to get a little piece of, I've got washi tape right here handy. So let's just go ahead and put a little bit of tape on it. Right there to keep it on. If you're watching and you are stuck in the house because like me, you normally would be out pruning and bike riding. Some of you, Scott, if you're watching, I know you would be out riding your bike. The sun's shining, but the roads are in horrible condition around here. I don't know where you ride, but it's probably not going to be great. And we want you to stay safe. So I'm glad. If you're not riding, I'm glad. But on the other hand, it's not very nice to not be able to do these things that we normally do. Now, I went ahead and I inked it all up, and I've got to take a bunch of that ink off because I actually, remember, I don't want any of that seawall on there. So, and I didn't mask this bottom part, which I could. Maybe I should. I threw away my scrap of paper, but let's get it out. And then I can just kind of cover up, because I can use some of the bushes to kind of put bushes down below, but I do not want any seawall on there. Okay, so we've got the house, and we're going to give this a go, see if it works. It's kind of a matter of, wow, how high do I want that house? And what's the angle? Also, okay, here we go. It's just a matter of faith now. We'll see how it looks. Oh, that's gonna be great. Let's take this off and see. Woohoo, yay. Oops, my tape stuck too good there. Okay, perfect. It tore a little there, but that's okay. All right, so you can see that there's places for me to fill in, which is good. You don't really want to go right into where your trees are, or you're going to lose some of those leaves. It's just going to get too muddy. So, you know, I could have got it a little closer, I suppose, but it's actually a lot easier to not do that. Okay, so now we've got that part done, and I think before I have any more fun filling in all these things, I think what we want to do is color that sky. And let me clean off my stamps really quick so I don't have yucky stamps when I go to use them again. But if you are a watercolorer, you could just get out your pencils and your paints and do some watercoloring there, and that actually would look really good. But I've just never really liked what I've done every time I've ever tried to do anything like that. So I've gone ahead and looked at a variety of different pens and settled on things that work for me. And you could sponge this sky and that would look really good. Actually, I would recommend that. You would be able to get a variance of color. See, mine's gonna be just all blue. Kind of, I wanted it to just reflect into this all blue water. I didn't really want to have to take a lot of time with this. So I'm gonna get out an assortment of pens because I kind of forget what ones I used. But I'm gonna stick with my Copic pens. They generally are gonna be the lighter blue. That Stampin' Up! Has this blending pen. It's called a color lifter, which is good if I get carried away and I don't like what I end up with. I can take some of the color off. This is a beige. I'm trying to find the lightest colors Stampin' Up! Has because their blends tend to be kind of dark. This bronze is probably going to be too dark for what I want. This is a Spectrum pen, Illustrator Spectrum pen. This one's ivory, but it is definitely more than ivory. So that one is good if you're adding some brown. Okay, let's see what I've got here. I'm just kind of pulling everything out so that I have what I need. This is Crumb Cake. This is Stampin' Up's light and dark crumb cake. I am going to be using those, but I'm going to keep them together here for now because I'm not sure that I'm going to start with that. There we go. That was the other blue I was looking for. Okay. Now I also am going to use some of my Tombow pens. They are water-based, I believe, so these are not alcohol-based ones. The alcohol-based pens are the ones that are not going to give you streaks, and so that's one reason I use those. But the water-based ones, there's just a lot more colors, you know, so I'm going to get that one out. Let's see, what else do I have? I know I have another light blue. So I'm just pulling a bunch of them out that I know I used when I was doing this earlier. So I don't have to hunt so much later. Tombow actually has a color lifter also, but it isn't as good as Stampin' Up, so I don't usually get it out. The Stampin' Up one really does take color away nicely. Okay, so we have lots and lots of pens to work with now, don't we? Good, because we're going to need them. So I'm going to start by just testing them out to see which is which, because I know I used one of these Copic markers for this sky. That one's pretty dark, so it wasn't that one. And it must have been this one. Okay, so this one is, oh yes, I should have looked because there are numbers here. There's BG, which is blue-green, and 000 just means that there's very little color. And it has, this is the Copic sketch pen. It has a chiseled end on one side, which is what I'm going to be using to cover much of the sky. It doesn't have as fine a point as some, but it's pretty good. But that side is easier to cover a larger area. But I'm going to start with this this side just because it's going to help me cover more sky. Now you can see it's a little streaky, but you know what? I'm not finished there. This is mainly just about filling it in. Let's just try to fill it in. And actually, move some of these out of the way for you. I'm going to come down a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing a little better. If you start at the trunk and move out, then where your streakiness, where it's going to be darker where you put your pen down, right? And I also am going to do it here where the water is, but this can just be all covered because actually, remember, those trunks are in water. This can be a little bit darker. And then we're going to just go in here. So where you put your pen down is where it's going to be the darkest. So I like to put it down kind of into the image that I'm butting up against. Or off the page, actually. You can kind of go off the page if it's smooth enough. Ooh, I got a nice streak there. That's okay, because a sky has some streaks, so where you get that, you're going to live with that. We can go in with our other pens and smooth it out later, but right now I just want to get these areas colored because I don't want to be here forever. One thing about our cards, when you make a homemade card, handmade, it's personalized, right? You do not need it to be perfect. So have fun with it. Don't obsess over these little issues of lack of perfection. This is not something a machine did, so it's not going to be perfect. So I'm done with this one. And I actually think that Tombo's way too green. Let's try this one. This one has almost no color at all, which is good in this case. So this is number 370, and this is going to help me fill in a little bit around where I got it a little dark. A little bit lighter is easier to deal with than darker, so I'm not going to worry about those areas that are a little bit lighter. That's actually going to be more natural anyway in a sky where it's lighter in certain patches. I am so glad to see the sun out there, and I'm hoping this awful ice dam in front of my window, I'm not swearing, I hope it goes away pretty quick. Okay, so now that is done. Let's see. I know I used one of my blue ones to kind of smooth it all out. Let me see if I can figure out. Might have been this one, but I don't think it is because that looks pretty dark. I'm just going to do it at the top and see if I used that. But no, it's not that one. Maybe it was a Stampin' Up! Blending pen. Let me check really quick and see. I do have, I think, let's look here. This one is Pool Party. I do think this is too dark. And it's also very green. So I don't think I can use that one. It did seem like maybe it was Seafoam. I don't think so, though. I don't think I used any of those, so I'm going to put those aside. Okay. I guess I'll just use my little color lifter. Where did you go? Color lifter. There you are. There's one streak here I really would like to smooth it out a little bit. So I'm going to just use that color lifter to try to get that in. As you can see, though, when you first put it on, it might look like, oh, it's a little dark there. Well, sometimes it does add some color, but sometimes it's just that it's wet, and it'll dry out and won't be quite so much so. And if it is, then I'm going to fix that too. Okay, so we're done with that. I think that's going to be pretty good. And now I need to add a little tiny bit of my detail here before I start coloring. So I'm just going to use that little, this little bush, and I'm going to I'm just going to ink just these little edges because, in fact, instead of even using my, I guess I can use my memento. I'm going to just use, this side's actually looking. So I just inked up those edges, and I'm going to just fill in tiny bit there. I don't need a lot, but I just need a little bit. I need a little bit down here where I'm gonna have like a faux path coming down from this house. Okay, there. I think that's gonna do. I don't wanna mess up my trees, so that just filled in that little bit of a gap that was there from when I had the mask on those trees and that bush. The fact that I'm stamping over a mask usually leaves a little bit of a rim, but if you back your mask in, sometimes it doesn't work the way you think, and it goes into the image. So I didn't do that. It's easier to just kind of fix it. Okay, so now I am going to need my blending pens, and I think this is garden green for those trees. And I'm gonna just start with the light garden green. Yep, that was it. And so I'm not gonna worry about my detail too much. There's a lot of leaves to cover here, so we're just gonna color those very quickly. It's gonna be a lot easier for me to go in and add dark after I've added all this color than the traditional way is to go, I suppose traditional. People do it differently. Some people add their highlights after they've colored, and you can do that. Most of the time we start with dark and put the dark in and then blend that dark into, you know, the rest of the image with your lighter color. But there's a lot of leaves here, and I need to just kind of color these quickly, so we're not here forever. And just again to remember, when you're using your blending pens, oftentimes that initial color when you lay it on is going to be darker than what it's going to dry to. It's going to dry a little bit lighter, not much. And in fact, it might not do that. I don't know that I've noticed it quite so much with my Whisper White paper, because this ink, because this is that cheaper cardstock, it's sinking into the paper more. With the Whisper White, it does lay on top better. So now as I get to the edges, I am going to come back with other side of my pen, but right now and here I'm going to add, as you can see, I did a bunch of different greens just to try to layer in some effects. So I am not going to try to color these really carefully, and they also are going to be covered greatly by a large label. And that's why I put that label there, because this beach part is going to be tricky. And rather than make it look fantastic, I am going to just make it do, because with the label on it, you can't see it, right? So these are the things you can do as a card maker. You can decide, what's my strength? And I'm going to go with that. And then what's my weakness? Well, I'm going to cover that. So if you're new to card making and you do not know yet what your strengths and your weaknesses are, just have fun with it. You'll figure it out pretty fast. Okay, so those are almost all done. And I'm not going to do much around this house with this color, because there's already a lot of it in the trees. So just a tiny bit there. Okay, but now I need to use this other end. This is the pointy end, to just try to get some of these that I didn't do. I don't want to mess up my trunks. And if I could leave those trunks white, I would. They would look great white. But I was afraid it wouldn't really work with my cards, so I went ahead and did them brown. And I think we'll do a lighter brown, because that brown was much too dark. Oops, I forgot all these leaves here. These are going to show. I do want some, I don't really want to do this super dark. I'm not covering all these leaves down here in the water, because I want there to be this ripply water effect. So I'm not covering all of that. Let's see, what do we want to do next? Okay, so I can use my dark Granny Apple. It's pretty dark. Just to maybe give a little bit of depth to my bush, but I'm not going to do too much because those leaves are layered in there pretty thick, and I actually really like all of the detail on these leaves. Some stamps that you get are going to be well, less exact. When they get to the actual, you know, they're more like an abstract sort of thing. This By the Bay and this Golden Afternoon, actually By the Bay is more like what I'm talking about. This house is pretty vague. There are some pretty good lines, but a lot of these lines are just like little teeny tiny pixel dots, you know. So it's a more vague image, and that's fine because it's in the distance. But there's a little bit different coloring techniques for those, because with ones that are very finely detailed, I don't want to mess up all that detail. So we'll just go in a little bit here, just getting a little bit of depth. And the idea is where there would be shadow, and that's all just pure opinion. You know, you can put your shadow wherever you want to. Obviously, it's going to be coming from there, but I'm going to add in more down here. This is going to be getting darker, right? Down under a tree, there would be a lot more. And the funny thing is that I'll go through like this, take a ton of time, and then after I've plopped that label on top, I'll realize, you know what, I really didn't probably need to spend 20 minutes on that beach that I covered with the label. I like to color though, so. For people who are not colorers, you would not be doing this. You could just cover it with your label. Don't worry about it. Okay, so I did not get any detail from my bushes over here because I knew I was just gonna use my pen to kind of color that in. Again, if I don't like what I did, I'm just gonna cover it with the label. Now I can't cover the whole thing with the label, so you know, that only works some. Doesn't work for everything. I think I'm not going to do too much of this green down below. I do want this down here to be a slightly different hue than these, because it's got to look like it's in water. Okay, now I think I put some more minty green. That's very light. Oh, that's probably what I was using for my sky up here. So I'll have to hunt for those. So before I even get started on that, I am going to do the house because I needed a fairly light gray for that. And this one is Cool Gray number 2. This is a Copic pen. That's maybe not as light as I want. I think I might have used a Tombow for this gray. This one is number 95. Yes, that's very light gray. And you need something really light because of the lack of distinction with the lines in this cottage. Okay, you don't want to go heavy-handed with a dark pen here. And then I'm going to just use this same pen, but on the pointy end to darken in some of the bricks. There's some bricks in there. And then I also am going to use some different color just to get those bricks to show up a little bit. And the ones I did on my other card, I was experimenting with color, and I didn't really want those dark ones that ended up there. So I'm going to be a little more careful here what I put on it. That's fairly light. I don't want it to be so light that this is going to take forever though. Okay, so this one is a pretty good brown. So we're gonna start this tree with this brown. This one is number 42. No, 942, excuse me. Actually though, that's not gonna work because this, I want this. This is probably the Stampin' Up's bronze because I want it to color coordinate with our I think this is, boy, what is this color? I forget now. I'll have to look to see what it is. Excuse me while I look over here really quick. Actually, it might be a retired color because I think the one that we have closest to it now, I don't even see it. So I'm not really sure what that color is now. I know this cardstock came as something. Oh, well. Since it's retired, it doesn't really matter. You could just go find it if you want. Oops, I'm on the wrong card. Okay. I don't need to fix that one. And let's see. What else do we want to do? I want a darker brown, but I want to... Oops, my light. Ooh, that's too green. I don't want that. Maybe I used Cajun or crumb cake. Let's look at the light one. This one's dark. Look at the light. See, it's not getting quite the color I want, so I'm gonna break out my bronze really quick. Actually, that's pretty good. So we're gonna put bronze right down here on the side where the shadow is of these trunks. Gonna go a little easy on it though, because I think I'm gonna want to blend that a bit. And since the trunks are pretty thin, if I go too heavy-handed on it, then I'm gonna have no room to do any blending. The trick is with your mirrored things to try to make it match, which it's not, because I turned the stamp upside down. You see what I'm saying? This should be directly under it, and it's mirrored. You know, this is the sort of thing that if you were a professional artist, you'd be going nuts. I'll just pretend I didn't even see that and not worry about it. The cards I send to people they're not expecting, you know, professional artist quality. I also could, I suppose, make this darker on this side just to try to mask that a bit. And this is E31. Let's try this and see if that will blend it in. And it looks like it's going to do pretty well, because this actually, like I said, this was just too dark. I used the bronze the whole way on that, and I just wasn't happy, but because I started with it, I kind of was stuck to keep going. The problem is these Copic pens, like I said, their tip's not as thin, and since it's fatter, it's a lot harder to stay in the lines when you're going on the skinny here. But I think I'll switch over to my chisel tip and we'll give it a try. See if I can do it. Especially with my head way back here, it's hard for me. I normally would have my head right over this card, trying to seeing in the lines. Okay. So So every day I've been doing my elliptical. I have gotten so that I'm doing it harder. I have to. I can't believe how much snow we have, and it just seems like it's going to be a long time before I feel comfortable getting out on the bike in front of I'm not a bicyclist. I just ride for fun. And so I'm scared to go out on a main street, and those are the only ones that are plowed enough to actually be able to be on. We saw a bicyclist, Jeff and I, the other evening when we were out, and I was like, whoa, be careful, because I could see him way up the street. I was thinking, don't get anywhere near him, because he has to go in the track where the cars are going. If he goes in that ice and snow, he's going to fall down. So that was a little terrifying, actually, watching it. He wasn't a young kid, so it's not like he was a little kid who's going to get hurt. But it's still, I just thought I wouldn't be out there on my bike. Okay, so I still need to do a little bit on the trees, because I do see just a couple of little leaves that I missed. As you're filling in, you're going to find things like that. And then I'm going to do that blue. And I think I used my Tombow with it, but it was, I didn't really like what I was doing with that Tombow. So I'm going to grab this Copic pen will work better. It'd be nice. See, isn't that a lot better? Yeah, my Tombow was a little too dark, and it almost looks like I did it with a crayon, which is okay, but not exactly the effect I was looking for. But the Tombow has a much finer tip, so that's why I got it out. I knew it wasn't going to be as good as this alcohol marker, but I like the color of that a little better, but actually, you know what? That's too light. I'm going to have to go in and make that darker. That's the other great thing about these alcohol blending pens, is that you can make it darker and darker and darker. And since it has these dark lines in it, I don't really need to worry about making it darker there. But I do want a little distinction, so we'll just add that a little bit, and that helps a bit. Okay, now this is a doorway that should have some shadow to it. Ooh, I don't know that I needed that much shadow, but we'll go with it since I did that. And I'm going to put a little bit of this brown around here, because actually, like I said, I kind of wanted the effect of a path coming down. And now, okay, so now it's going to get ugly, and you're going to see, okay, she's really messing it up. But the truth is my label is going to go over here, so I am free to make a big mess now. But before I do that, I should, I suppose, get out this is High Tide. It has a nice sand for a beach, and it also has this water. So I'm going to be, and it has pretty nice birds, but they weren't, to scale, so. The other thing is that these are photopolymer, and they're very clean, aren't they? I haven't used them, I guess, yet. Kind of embarrassing, because I actually really liked this set. I was excited to get it. It's just there's so many things that I want, so I don't think I need this whole beach. My goodness, that's too big. I better use this little tiny patch of sand. And we'll stick this on the block. I haven't done it yet, so we're going to see what this looks like. I better start with something light, like crumb cake, because then if I completely screw it up, then it won't matter so much. Okay, actually that's going to look great. I am going to just do my crumb cake right here. Right over that spot. And that's not dark enough, but I did just kind of want to see how that would look. And then I think we'll just do a tiny bit of soft suede. But I'm going to be I'm stamping off on it because I'm not really sure how dark I want that. Yeah, it's probably okay. Okay. I kind of need this to go to the edge, and I probably am going to need to I don't know. Actually, this is going to be fine because it's going to be trimmed, you see. Again, I wanted the effect of this being an island. So, I don't know about you, but have you ever gone down? Let me see who's here. I have to look on my phone because my computer doesn't show me anything. Oh yeah, Linda, you're watching. It's rainy, snowy, sleety in Virginia. I am so sorry for you. We've had that, and we actually even had the snow this morning. But if I scroll down, maybe I can see comments. Oh, good, I can. Thank you, Sonia. It's nice to see you. Thank you very much. I saw the snow this morning because I told other people said it was going to snow. I said, no, it's not going to snow today because I'm just thinking I've had it. I've never seen snow here in the Tri-Cities in this late in February, other than a light dusting. You know, once in a while it'll do that even in March, but it's nothing. It's gone by 10 in the morning. All of it. There's no snow. And I'm out there pruning my roses and planting, looking at the little bulbs, looking at all of my crocuses that are up by the 10th of January or of February. We always have our little yellow crocuses are up and out on the 10th of February. And so anyhow, this year they're buried under 3 feet of snow, so I was really unhappy about that. So I told people it was not going to snow, so I felt pretty foolish when I got up and saw that it is snowing out there, but it is done. And the sun is out, it is melting. I just am convinced it's going to be fine. Okay, so I need some like minty and like a Christmas piney green. I just need different greens down here. And it doesn't really matter how you do this. This is like abstract down here, right? In fact, I think I'm going to get out some lime, or actually that's olive. And I know Stampin' Up! Has an old olive too, but I'm kind of resorting to the more variety greens here. So let's see what we have. Oh, here we go. There's a very brilliant mint, and then there's this bright spring green. And let's see what we have. We have this sea green too, and I'm kind of wondering how green is that? That's actually quite nice. Let's do this one. So this one is a Copic sketch. This is 12, green 12. Yeah, the thing about the alcohol markers too is that they are very opaque. Opaque, is that the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure. I'm looking for the word that means you can see through it. I'm not sure if that's the word I'm looking for, so you can correct me if that's not the word, because it actually might mean the opposite of what I'm wanting. Okay. Anyhow, so that was a good one. Let's try this olive. This one is 76. And then with this one, I can go in and sort of do more blanket coverage here. And this is the one we want down in the water to give those leaves a little bit different look than the ones that are in that tree. Okay, and let's see, this one's very bright. This is 140. Ooh, very bright. This is the color I want to see out there. It's very green, very bright spring green. The thing is if you are buying these pens individually, it's like, well, can I try it before I buy it? I want to see what color it is. They are never the same online or in a catalog. I mean, seriously, and they just want us to shell out $5, $6, $7, $8, $9 for pens. I don't even know what a Tombow pen is nowadays, but They are one of the lesser expensive ones, I believe, but it's still, when you want like lots of colors, good grief, I'm not going to spend that much. It takes years to, and literally, that's why I have so many. I've been doing it for years, and I keep them in a Tupperware container. So I think that's keeping them. Now that looks way too bright. So my label is going to cover a lot of that because I'm not very happy with how bright that turned out as I was just sort of yammering here and coloring. We'll darken it up a little bit. Okay, now I can get my light crumb cake, and that also will dim out some of the more bright greens that I put in there that I'm not really sure I wanted. And then I also did want that path kind of coming in there. So we'll do that. Okay, so here's my beach. And we're going to push all of these pens up. Get those out of the way a little bit. Hey there, I'll be done in a second. My husband just came home, so I shut him out so that he wouldn't come in and bug me. So anyhow, we need to do a little bit of highlights on the window. And I need just a pale yellow for that. Okay, and now we're ready for our label. And we'll be about done. Oh no, I forgot about the water. I've got to do that. So on High Tide, there's this water shimmer. And I'm going to use, I think I'll try using our Bermuda Bay stamp pad. Bermuda Bay? I don't know about that. This is pretty light. I better darken this up a bit before I do anything with it, because I do want this water to be a bit darker. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to just move it on to the shore a little bit too. There we go. And, okay, so let's try Pacific Point. Let's see. I think I'll stamp it off onto the, yeah, because see, that's way too dark. So if it's stamped off, it'll be fine. There we go. But yeah, you definitely want to stamp that off. Okay. Like that. There. Oh, I like that. That's better. The shimmers on that are nice, but it's just not a big enough area. So I think that's going to have a much better effect there. It definitely looks waterier, and that's what I wanted. Okay. And the label, I have it punched out and ready to go. This is very vanilla. And then I think I used a marker to get this color. I actually have, you're going to laugh because it's going to show you how old I am. I have an old Dots one called Sunflower. I've kept this color forever. I probably bought this in I'll bet I bought this color in 1988, I'm going to say. That's how long I've had it. And it still works. It's kind of wimping out on me, but it does still work. It's the exact color of this ribbon, and this is an old Stampin' Up one. I just don't remember what color it was. It's not Cajun Craze. I thought it was Cajun Craze, but that's not it. We do have, I thought we had a color that was similar to this. but I'm looking over here and I don't see it because So Saffron is not going to be it. And Daffodil and Crushed Curry, that's the one I was thinking, but Crushed Curry, I believe you are going to be way too yellow, but let's give you a try and see. Let's see what Crushed Curry looks like. Oh, that's pretty close. I think that's what we'll do. So we will put, maybe I can retire my sunflower and we'll use Crushed Curry. I wonder if that ribbon is Crushed Curry. If so, it might still be in the catalog. And it's really, it's a color you probably don't use all that often, but I love that color. It's pretty. Oh, I was actually going to do another sympathy card, but I turned it into a Thinking of You one instead. That's all right. I kind of liked the scroll on the T for it, so this one's got Thinking of You. Okay, so Crushed Curry, yay. Very happy for that. All right, let me grab my ribbon. And we'll just tuck that underneath there. And then this is going to go right here. So we just need a couple of dimensionals to stick on that. So we're going to just put a dimensional right there. This is what I'm doing just to try to get my ribbon situated the way I want it. Actually, I want that one to go like this. And better pull that in a little bit because I'm going to trim that. Oh, I probably should trim it before I do anything. I have way too many pins and things here. Let's remove some stuff. There we go. Now I've got some space again. Okay, so it's okay that my dimensional's stuck in there because I'm going to just trim the sides. I want it to be small enough that I can get it on my card. And let me grab my card. So this is not Crushed Curry, I don't think, but maybe it's close. This one actually is kind of narrow. This one's 4. I'll probably have to grab another one and do, because I don't really want this to be that small. I'm just trimming the edges so that it'll show. If my card's 4 1/4, then I want a little more than 1/8 off of each side. That should be good. And it'll be 5 1/2, so I need just a little more off the bottom. And that should be pretty good. Now see, this one's gonna be too small to mount on there. No, it's pretty good, so I can just mount that on. All right. Oop, my tape's stuck there, honey. Oop. My dimensional. Okay, so we'll stick that right there. And right there. And then I'm going to just trim that bottom. And I might put this on a white card rather than put it on another one. Let's see if I can do that. I don't really want the white to show, but I can do it. I probably will cut. I'll just get another one of these and cut it. You're gonna get the idea even without seeing the whole card, so I'm just not gonna worry about that. And we will put the ribbon on, and we're gonna call it good for today. I want my bottom one to go there, and the top of it to go there. Okay, and then I'm going to take another dimensional and stick it right there, and I'm going to stick another one right there. Oops, like that. That one's kind of flopping around, but that's okay. That one will keep it down nicely. And then my label right on top of that. Cute. And we'll trim this one a little shorter. There, done. Close, close. Okay, so Linda, you said, hi Marty. Oh, it's freezing rain. I'm so sorry. That sounds horrible. And Linda, the blue Copic I used on the water. Oh my goodness. Let's look here. This is Balmy Blue 21. I believe that was it. But let me see what other ones it could do. Okay, so that's B21, Balmy Blue. And let's see. I also, let's just, oh, I know that I started with this one. This one's the sky. So this one is Blue Green 000. And I think I used, yeah, I think that one was, that's too much gray. I don't believe I used that. Let me test that. And that one was too dark. So yeah, it was that one. Okay, so Linda, it was BG000 and B21, Bob Baby Blue. I think I used both of those because this is the one that I used for all of the sky and the water first. And then when I wanted to darken up the water, that's when I put this, I put a layer of this B21 on. So I hope that answers your question. So I am going to swing up and say goodbye. I hope you, sorry about my hand. I hope you enjoyed that, and please share my videos and go check out my website. I would love to hear from you anytime. You have a great day. Stay inside, stay where it's warm. And spring is coming. I guarantee you it is. This can't last for much longer. Thank you. Bye.